Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News with me, Katira King. Osun State in Nigeria processes 20,000 tons daily of cocoa, which has implemented the revival of the southwestern cocoa phenomenon. The man spearheading this is His Royal Majesty Oba Dokun Thompson, the Oloni of Etioni, Osun State of Nigeria. His Royal Majesty is a unique monarch who made history on the 8th of December in 2008, when he became the first traditional ruler in Nigeria to be installed inside the church. This monarch is a keen supporter of building the talents and gifts in the younger generation and uses the scriptures as a guide to bringing out the best in them to have a purposeful and fulfilled life. Prior to being installed, however, the Oloni of Etioni had a stint in politics between 2003 and 2007 and was nominated as a member of the newly established Osun State Rural Development Board. In addition to his traditional role, he founded the African National Rulers, or ANR Initiative, in 2015, which is a platform that focuses on redefining Africa to address the issues of conflict, poverty, health, education, housing, and environment to achieve sustainable primary socio-economic development, particularly in rural areas. Welcome to the morning show, Oba.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, I'm good.
Sleepy? It's very early in the morning. What is the typical life of a king like? Because, you know, it's not often we get a monarch here on the morning show. What is the day in the life of a king like for you?
For me, really, it's pretty simple and straightforward. As you know already, yeah, I'm a trained engineer, mechanical engineer, but I've more or less found myself be a farmer.
Wow.
That's what I want to call myself.
A
cocoa
farmer,
farmer.
not
Yes.
a monarch. So you're a man of the people.
Yes, I am.
So let's take a little look at where farming has led you, because you are now spearheading or championing the cause of cocoa production, not only in Nigeria, but Africa as a whole. So let's take a look at the Cocoa Festival.
Okay.
The Etioni Development Group presents Cocoa Festival 2017. Royal origins and traditions of cocoa for sustainability. A week-long annual celebration of peace, love, and development in Etioni, Nigeria, home to Nigeria's oldest cocoa plantation and the birthplace of cocoa production in southwest Nigeria. The cocoa crop was introduced into Etioni in 1896 by Untitled Thompson, and it was from here that cocoa spread to neighboring towns and other parts of the region, and it later became the economic mainstay of western Nigeria. The 2016 edition of the Cocoa Festival commemorated 120 years of cocoa production in Etioni, 1896 to 2016. And the festival attracted visitors from within Nigeria and abroad who came to experience and explore the rich cultural heritage of Etioni, showcased through music, dance, drama, poetry, and games, among other events during the week. Cocoa Festival 2017 is geared to be even bigger and better than the previous editions. The festival has been endorsed by the United Nations World Tourism Organization and 2017 International Year of Sustainable Tourism for Development. Cocoa Festival is organized by the Etioni Development Group, whose main mission is to transform the rural community of Etioni into a model sustainable smart town in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2030.
Etioni has become the home of Cocoa Festival in Nigeria, even in Africa, even possibly in the world. And it's going to be an annual program, and we're going to keep on driving it because it's going to keep on getting better and improved, bringing in all different kinds of angles and initiatives into it to make it the home of cocoa, not just as a tourism aspect in terms of dancing and singing and visiting, but we're going to create museums, we're going to create institutions, we're going to create a heritage that can be showcased to the world.
Be a part of Cocoa Festival 2017. 8 glorious days of celebration, education, music, dance, fun fair, quality local cuisine, and lots of entertainment. Delegates from over 20 cocoa producing and chocolate making countries. Join 3,000 excited visitors as they converge on Etioni from November the 26th to December the 3rd, 2017. Cocoa Festival 2017 in Etioni, Osun State, Nigeria. Come, discover, enjoy.
That is fascinating. Yes. Why is cocoa production so important to Osun State?
Well, if you understand the history a bit, there was a war, 1878 to 1886. The war was over. My great-grandfather participated in the war, H.R.M. Thompson. And after a while, he settled in Etioni. And to build a new economy for a new settlement, he brought in cocoa. And from Etioni, cocoa spread to the rest of southwest Nigeria. Right. So really, Etioni is the birthplace of cocoa in western Nigeria, and cocoa was used to build western Nigeria. Wow. What we call today, first TV station, the tallest building in Africa at some point in time, the cocoa house, it was all built with the money of cocoa. What we need to do is just to return to what we have, which is what is missing at the moment. And for me, last year, we had the opportunity to celebrate 120 years of continued production of cocoa.
Wow.
Yeah, and this year we're celebrating 121 years. But with this year's edition, we're bringing in different events and other activities. We're going to have a field trip. We're going to have even a chocolate making workshop.
Ooh, yeah. Sounds like something I'd be very interested in.
Exactly, and everyone is welcome to that. We're also going to have a conference, a cocoa conference for key stakeholders to talk about not just about cocoa, but also to talk about sustainability, to talk about challenges with operations in FMCG facilities. So also, we would also be having, what was it again? Then we have, of course, the parade, the festival parade. Right. Yes, and then the Children's Day, the Farmers Business School, the Farmers Field School, so it's a lot of activities, and we're also introducing the produce and cocoa fair, which should have about 70 exhibition stalls with people exhibiting from different parts of the country and also some international exhibitors. The whole idea is to try and bring up our standards, right, not just for the local market, but even if we're not exporting, we should still be able to have a standard that can be at par with anywhere else in the world. And of course, when we talk about appreciation to create sustainability, Etioni Development Group is the organizing committee for the Cocoa of Excellence Award, which is the International Cocoa Awards, which actually recognizes and celebrates and appreciates farmers for producing good cocoa, right, fine cocoa. So we're introducing that as well this year. But we are also now going to add another bit of it and have the Nigerian Cocoa Awards to award people that have actually contributed to keeping this on, to sustaining cocoa development and also cocoa production.
That's amazing. It seems like you've got your hands in a lot of different fields, so to speak.
Yes, now, you can say that.
Being that the Nigerian government has come out to say that we should be less reliant upon petroleum and the other resources for our GDP and focus on things like agriculture, I can imagine that you're gaining a lot of support from the federal government.
Yes. Well, we're speaking with the federal government to get support. For instance, we're looking at agriculture, not just as a food item to create food and stuff like that, but also look at the byproducts of agriculture. Tourism, right, for instance. You know,
And
the
it's so
cultural
important.
aspect.
It's not something that we look at and
Exactly.
celebrate.
So we need to celebrate all these things because they're all products. They're all byproducts of different kinds of industries. And the Minister for Information and Culture has agreed to come and give the opening keynote address at the conference.
Fantastic.
And he would also be supported by the Minister for Agriculture and the Minister of State, Trade and Industry. So there's a lot going on. And one of the areas where we've always had challenges is actually adding value to what we're doing. You see, the issue of petroleum has nothing to do with the fact that we don't have other resources.
Yes.
But even the petroleum product, we're not adding value to it.
Yep.
We still import a lot of fuel, we import diesel and stuff like that. And we don't want to make the same mistake here in agriculture and other things. We need to add value to our agriculture. We need to add value to, even if it's solid minerals, no matter what it is. If you don't add value to it, you don't get any value from it. So if you feel your finished product is a raw material, then that's the maximum of value you've added to it. But if you want to go down the value chain, then you'll probably be multiplying your income by 10, 20, times more. You create more jobs.
And that was actually going to be my next question. What are the employment opportunities attached to elevated cocoa production in Osun State?
Okay. First, once we define Osun State in terms of the agri aspect of it, if we look at cocoa, we are looking at the farmers. Osun State, for instance, has the lowest unemployment rate in the country.
Yes.
Because people decided not to be unemployed.
Yeah.
What they've done is go into the farms. So they're gainfully employed. But then, what makes them poor has to do with the fact that they have to wait for the harvest cycle. You understand? So there's really no steady income. But the minute you start adding value, then you know it's a continuous process.
Right.
It's not weather-based, it's not environmental-based.
Right.
It's something, you stock your raw materials and you produce around the year. And the same farmers.
So I can imagine that there's a level of education that is attached to this initiative that you're working with now.
Yes, because that's what the Farmers Business School is about. The Farmers Business School teaches them about entrepreneurship. It teaches them about how to be prudent with their money. It teaches them about how to try and stretch out their funds because they get their money in bulk like twice a year when they harvest in April and in October. And then the months in between, they're broke.
Yeah.
So those are the issues that all these things bring about and try to correct.
Okay, so we've spoken about cocoa production in and of itself, but it's one thing to produce cocoa, and it's a problem that Nigeria has faced repeatedly, time and time again, whereby we produce these raw materials, but we don't actually do anything with it, so we're not making money from exporting it. Now, you are taking it one step further. You're producing cocoa, but you're also creating chocolate from it.
We have
Let's have
the
a little look at
HRM
this.
chocolate. We've been on this for...
HRM chocolate.
Yes.
Wow, this is amazing.
We've been on this for about 2 years now or more. And last year we actually launched it to commemorate the 120 years production of cocoa.
Oh, wow.
Okay. The whole idea is when we add value to cocoa, you can either have intermediary products or you have finished products. The intermediary products can be used for confectionery, like this, or it's used for cosmetics, which all you ladies, I mean, all the ladies
cocoa
use.
and cosmetics?
Yes, for cocoa butter, lipstick, and the rest of them.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have the use of these intermediary products for pharmaceuticals. So what we're losing is that whole bit from... If, for instance, the value of cocoa is $1, what you can do to achieve that end product gets you about $20.
Right. Right.
You know, once you add value to it, so it's either you sell your beans for $1 or you spend a few
And we can see the
dollars.
cocoa beans on screen now. So this is the CEO of the Etioni Group, Adeze Kweme,
yes.
making chocolates with the cocoa beans that you produce.
Exactly, yes.
Wow.
What we do is we make them in small batches here.
Okay.
It's artisan chocolate, 70% dark chocolate.
Wow.
When you see 70%, it means it has 30% sugar, 70% cocoa. But what you normally have at the unhealthy ones, which probably has about 15% cocoa, and then the rest is milk and sugar.
I found out recently that white chocolate actually contains no cocoa whatsoever.
Oh, yes.
I was so
because
surprised.
At times, what happens is the white chocolate actually, at times it could be used, cocoa butter can be used.
Really?
And at times, ordinary butter can be used.
Wow.
And with very, very little amount of cocoa.
Wow.
Maybe less than 3%. So, and cocoa is very healthy.
Yes, it is, in its raw form.
Exactly, very healthy. I mean, in Etioni last year, during the Children's Day aspect of the festival, I wore the outfit of a chef and decided to educate the children on cocoa. I asked them a simple question: how many of you want to be farmers when you grow up? And they all said none of them want to be. And I asked why. The question was that their parents were poor and their parents were illiterate.
And their parents are farmers, so they associate the stigma with that.
Exactly. So after that, I showed them what cocoa was about, told them about it, gave them chocolates, the Etioni chocolate.
Right.
They ate it, they loved it. I asked them, and then I now told them I was a farmer.
Right.
And now asked if any of them wanted to go into farming.
The whole perspective must have completely changed.
Everything changed.
Of course.
About 80% of them said they won't mind farming,
oh.
but they won't mind my own type of farming.
Kingly farming.
And what's that? Education, appreciation, have a value structure that you hold on to and you cherish. This alone will give you an identity and confidence to be able to face anywhere. Yeah. What makes people poor? It's really not lack of money, but so many things to do with social services, social infrastructure, your environment, your surroundings. You know, so these are issues that we are trying to resolve, and that's why, for us, cocoa is very important. We've defined our land for wealth creation. We're adding value, and we're going to be building a sustainable model smart town, whereby people can live happy, people can be confident, and wherever they go, they are happy to be back, to say they're going back home, not emigrate for the purpose of economic reasons,
of course,
or maybe for lack of some resource or lack of some infrastructure or stuff like that. But it is, we are going to make sure everything is done. It's a 20-year development plan.
Right.
And we are already rolling it out. And we know we'll get there.
That's amazing. So I'm going to ask you a question now, because we are looking, politically speaking, we're looking at issues across the globe. Now, you are a leader, you're the king of your community, but I'll skew this question a little bit differently. So I normally ask people if they were the king of whatever place, what they would change for a day. You are the king. So if you were the president of a different nation, or perhaps the king of a different community, what would you look at changing industrially within that community or country in Africa, and why?
Just like I said earlier on, there's no place I can describe as poor. If we go into our lands, we need to define them for wealth.
Yes.
There's wealth in poverty. What do I mean by that? There's some people that say that they're transferring rubbish or whatever into wealth, creating wealth from rubbish. What we don't have right now are extended development plans
Right.
of 20, 25 years. Once you can identify what you have, you define them for what they are, understand what you can create out of them, then you would have been able to create wealth. But what is really, really important as well is for you to be able to educate the people so that they can have a mindset to be able to comprehend what you're trying to do. Because that is very key. And in educating them, you'll be able to also sustain whatever you're trying to do.
Right.
Because it's not about you. It's not even about who is immediately after you, but it's a continuous thing that lasts from generation to generation. My great-grandfather did this in 1896. Here I am, 120 years after. That is what I am talking about. That's
Legacy,
sustainability, exactly.
Creation. That's fantastic. So we are going to see later, much more of you later on in the show. But for those of our viewers that want to find out where they can get involved in the Cocoa Festival or how they can get a hold of your chocolate, how can they do that on social media?
Well, we've got a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's called the Cocoa Festival. Also, our website will be coming up, hopefully in another day or two.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, the new website. It's www.cocofestival.com. It's captures everything about it, the history, the background of it, all the events, and even all the activities that we've been part and parcel of over the last 1 year. And it generally also tries to educate people about what is feasible.
Amazing.
So that you know that really and truly it's not about we can't get here. You can achieve anything as long as you don't put the limitations
on yourself.
On yourself, yes.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's not about whether you can achieve this or not. You can achieve.
Definitely. I love that. Those final words, I love them. Okay. So I'm definitely going to be signing up for that chocolate making course that you said via the website. And I will see you next month for the Cocoa Festival. But before that, I'll see you later on in the show.
Definitely. Thank you.
Fascinating stuff there with His Royal Majesty Oba Dokun. It's time now for a short break on the morning show, but when we return, I'll be speaking with a politically inclined event manager with some serious opinions. Don't go away.